Can anyone other than Dude hear me? Is he just pulling my leg? Oh, now he can. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me, dudes. Oh, nope. Oh, so now we can hear me. So yeah, it looks like I just needed to swift. Tell you what, I didn't push anything, but I don't know if it's the microphone that's causing trouble. Can you hear me now? Sound on again. That's a bit worrying. Unfortunately, it seems, I don't know if my microphone's a bit. Let's try putting this in again. It might be. Ugh. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Testing, testing. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but it might be this. Hopefully it's not. Right, okay, it seems, unfortunately, my microphone is or isn't working. I don't know why it's not. Oh, that's so annoying. But oh well. We'll have to do it without the microphone today. Well, the wind's not going to be an issue today, that's for certain. But are you using an iPhone with adapter? No, it's a Samsung. Although, like I say, it's annoying because this worked perfectly last week. So I don't know. It could be maybe the fluff got in the way of the hole. But I don't know. We'll have to see. But anyway, we'll do it. We'll continue without it today. We'll continue without it today and hope that it magically works next week. So once again, I'd like to welcome you all, because every time I've done my greeting, it's decided not to work. So good morning, one and all, and welcome to what is a lovely but very, very cold day in Barnsley. I think we call it Fool's Spring over here, because I don't know about you. I thought the weather was well and truly going to be on the up and up, but no, it's taken a plunge today. So hopefully you're probably all warm and snug. So I'm out here exercising on your behalf. So as someone said there, do you think they're going to remove the Northern Ireland Protocol? Right into it. Love it. But as I'm always sure, you know, I think there might be people. Oh, good evening from Japan. Konnichiwa. Hopefully, fingers crossed, and I mean fingers crossed, I will be going to I will be going to Japan in November, but that is a massive fingers crossed. Hotels are booked, flights are booked. We just need to actually see if we can actually get there. So it is a massive fingers crossed. So keep your fingers crossed for me as well. But the Northern Ireland Protocol. So for those of you who may not be aware, what is the Northern Ireland Protocol? So essentially, in practical physical terms, essentially what it does is it puts a border right between Northern Ireland and the rest of the United Kingdom. So essentially what this means is that Northern Ireland, for all practical reasons, is essentially still in the customs market and customs market and single market. Customs market. Yeah, the single market and customs union. I don't know. I was making some sort of strange hybrid there. So, for all intents and purposes, that is the case. Now, we have to ask this because now you roughly know what the Northern Ireland Protocol is. You have to ask, how on earth did we get to this stage? And that, my friends, is a long, long story. I called this stream "It's Not Easy Being Green Party" because I wanted to talk about the Green Party and the fact that there's been a bit of a rupture in the Green Party, but we'll save that for later because we'll talk about this because it is quite important. Where to start? For those of you who may or may not know, the island is split in two, from the Republic of Ireland in the south and, of course, the Northern Ireland part in the north. And this has been largely through historic, cultural and religious reasons. This shows the countryside. There you go. Ta-da! Greetings from the Pacific Northwest. Greetings back to you from a very, very, very cold South Yorkshire today. Whew. So, I think really to start the story and to hopefully make sure everyone's on the same page, I filled you in on what the Northern Ireland Protocol. Oh wow, thank you very much. Mini Shambari, I think that's how you say it. Hope so. But anyway, Mini, thank you very much for those 10 euros. Thank you very much. Like I say, thank you for supporting the stream that way. That means so much. Thank you very much. But where do we start? Well, I think we have to start back at the referendum, as very often with Brexit we always seem to have to do. And so the 2016 referendum, obviously, was this whole in and out question, but really hanging in the air was what type of Brexit it actually would be. And of course, the Leave campaign on purpose refused to define what actually Leave actually meant. Do we have to revive the referendum again? Yes, we do, because very often things like this, you have to go back, especially with this question of, do you think they'll get rid of the Northern Irish Protocol? Has to go back. We have to go all the way back to the 2016 referendum, because we have to go back to discussing the ERG and the DUP in this case. And then people also probably, although again, to really discuss it, we'd have to probably go back and discuss the Good Friday Agreement / the Belfast Agreement, you know? But we don't have all that time to really go into that in depth today, although we might actually do. This is what happens when you call the stream one thing and then you get sidetracked. But anyway, we'll get back to it because I'm being sidetracked already. So, hang on, there we go. Where to begin? Well, the 2016 referendum, as I said. So, the DUP are the unionists in Northern Ireland, and essentially their mantra is that they do not want to be part of the rest of Ireland. They would rather remain part of the United Kingdom. Of course, there's various other reasons to that, but we're just shortening the explanation for time. So please do forgive me for condensing really what is quite an in-depth topic down to essentially just a short phrase, because like I say, we've only got we've only got so much time and so much to actually discuss, because that in itself is quite an in-depth topic. So the DUP were adamant and even happy that they were going to support the Leave campaign, and they were adamant that this would not affect the Good Friday Agreement / the Belfast Agreement, and that this would not be a problem. And indeed, even the rest of the Leave campaign, when it came to discussing that very issue of Northern Ireland, and would indeed this affect the peace process, was completely downplayed. It was completely downplayed. We were told at the referendum that this was just not an issue. So it's really, really hard to sort of sympathise with a lot of these people when, and this must be stressed because it's the ERG's topic for discussing this is exactly what they voted for. And that point cannot be stressed enough. This is exactly what the ERG voted for. And it is now the very thing they are claiming to want to get rid of. This is in itself a very good personification of, this isn't the Brexit we voted for. Unfortunately, it hasn't appeared in headlines yet, so it's not going up on the wall, unfortunately. But it is an interesting question, because right from the 1st of December, right from the 1st of January, the DUP have just been completely unhappy with the agreement, because again, it separates the Northern Ireland from the rest of the UK, and they see that as they view it as a sneaky way for the Republicans to essentially rejoin, to reunify Ireland, which ironically Brexit is going to be cause of that, because as you all may very well know, Northern Ireland voted overwhelmingly to stay in the European Union. Because a lot of people in Northern Ireland saw very, very correctly that the UK not staying in the European Union would bring huge pressures and troubles to the peace process that quite frankly weren't there before. And it's worth saying already there have been threats against custom officials and against the customs posts now at those ports. And as a result, the government has had to remove officials from those ports and from those posts to protect their lives. So we're looking at a very, very worrying time. And like I say, this whole thing was set up in order to help protect the Good Friday Agreement. So it's absolutely dumbfounding, because if you've got to get rid of this, then there has to be a hard border somewhere. And the second you put a hard border between the Republic and the north of Ireland, that breaks international treaties. So once again, the UK is in a position to unilaterally destroy probably one of the most successful peace agreements in the world. And a lot of people were saying in chat, the DUP never have agreed with the Good Friday Agreement. You are right, they haven't. They've never, ever agreed. But there isn't any chance of them really destroying it, because it's a international treaty. And I think even they know the ramifications for what would happen under that. But they, like I say, they have got a chance in hell of actually destroying the agreement. Like I say, for them, it's just something again that they can rally against. And as a lot of people are now saying, they're really worried, and I myself am really worried, because again, through JCI, I know a lot of people in Ireland, I know a lot of people in Belfast and Derry/Londonderry. So even they're worried about what this could mean for peace on that island. We could, it is very worrying, but and then obviously the European Research Group, and this is again very worrying, because there we go. Very, very worrying. The ERG have now waded into this conversation this week and said that they want Boris to ditch the Northern Ireland Protocol. Oh, good morning to to Forrest online, I think that was, from the Netherlands. Good morning to you. Good morning to the people that have joined us as well. Like I say, we are discussing quite an in-depth topic, so you'll forgive me if I haven't greeted you, but good morning to all those who've joined us. So, as we say in Yorkshire, the DUP have gone and put the foot right in it. And there is absolutely no sense whatsoever of responsibility. Because, as I keep on stressing, this is exactly what the DUP voted for. Again, the group of Brexiteers who continuously love to say people knew what they were voting for. And yet, here we have the group now clearly not knowing what they voted for. It's absolutely crazy. It's unbelievable. It is absolutely, truly unbelievable, this situation, but this is what we're in. This is what we're in. And their idea for the replacement of this is essentially an honour system. Yes, you heard me right. They want an honour system. Essentially, if you are in Northern Ireland, they're going to say, okay, we trust you not to break the rules. Now, you've been told not to break the rules, so don't break the rules. And that is essentially what they intend to replace the Northern Ireland border with. And as we said a couple of years ago now, even right back at the very start of all this mess, we said that the Brexiteers' fantasies would end up turning Northern Ireland into the world's first state-sanctioned smuggler state. Because now, with those fantasy plans in place, essentially you could just smuggle anything you wanted into the European Union through Northern Ireland, or smuggle anything else you wanted through Northern Ireland into the UK. You know? It's unbelievable. And as I said this week, you know, I like to think that people who are MPs would actually have some sense to them. I really do think they would. That they'd have some sort of level of sense to them. Clearly not. But yeah, this is the typical Brexiteer attitude that we've seen right from the very beginning. That they refuse point blankly to take any sense of responsibility for the mess they have made. And it's once again an absolute denial of reality of the situation that is going on. And that's the unfortunate, once again, situation. So do I think they'll get rid of the Northern Ireland Protocol after 25 minutes of talking about it? I do hope he's still here for the answer. My general honest opinion is, if Boris Johnson thinks that it is politically advantageous to his position. Oh, you are still here, good. So if Boris Johnson still thinks that it is politically advantageous to his position, he will absolutely get rid of the Northern Ireland Protocol 100%. Because, as we also said earlier this week, Brexit, the Joint Partnership Council, it's just a perpetual grievance machine. You know, they kept on blaming the EU for everything that was wrong with this country and its economy, and now they can still do that with Brexit. So, you know, it just makes them look even more foolish because we're not in the EU anymore. You know, and most of these problems that they're complaining about have been a result of leaving the very system and organisation that they were so desperate to leave. And someone just said, well, that's completely ludicrous, but you've got to remember who's in charge. Boris Johnson is in charge. And as long as Boris Johnson is in charge, Boris will do whatever is in favour. Oh, some geese flying by there. Boris will do whatever is in the best interests of Boris. So never underestimate the stupidity and resilience of Boris Johnson, because as you all very, very well aware, I had what we call the 3 departure dates, and we've missed he hasn't left on the first one, which was the Christmas departure date. I thought he might go, right lads, Brexit's done, I'm off, see ya, goodbye. The next departure date we had was April, May time. So, yeah, he could end up going then. That's possible. Again, we're just gonna have to wait and see. Just gonna have to wait and see what happens. And of course, my third prediction was that somehow, because you've got to remember this is Boris Johnson, somehow Boris survives all this and makes it through to the next election. And you've got to remember, Boris Johnson has survived scandals that would have ruined other politicians' careers. But then again, you've got to look at who's in his cabinet and think that, you know, what's really going on is that we are being currently run by a cabinet of political vampires, and no one's yet got the garlic to kill them off. I mean, his cabinet has Gavin Williamson, of all people, in, and Priti Patel, who, quite frankly, should never, ever be allowed a cabinet position ever again, and that counts for both of them. And neither of them should ever be allowed to be MPs again. The fact that they are MPs is really shocking. But, you know, there you go. Yeah. That's the well and truly unbelievable stance that we're in. Bowler hat man, no bowler hat. I do actually have a bowler hat. You can see it in the background of my videos very sometimes. But yeah, any questions about the Northern Ireland Protocol? I'll try and answer them to the best of my ability. But yeah, this situation that they are now in is just a complete waste of time. Of course, this could all just be a massive smoke screen for Boris, giving something to, you know, giving something for Boris to hide behind and say, oh, it's that dastardly EU at it again. So I wouldn't put it past them to maybe saying, oh, well, we'll give Boris a bit of cover by promoting something so outlandishly ridiculous and insanely stupid to put forward. That there you go. Yeah, and a lot of people are mentioning how in the chat how Biden was a big part of the Good Friday Agreement. He was. I can't remember what part of it he was. I think he was involved with it. I think he might have been on some sort of committee or something like that. But he had a big hand on the US side of helping out with it. So you are right. Biden would not stand for the Good Friday Agreement being twisted and torn apart like that. So you are right. Oh, no. There's your pony action for today. There we go. Oh, my friend who's just said that comment there, Alan. Was it Alan? Yeah, Alan Saxon talking political numbers. At least the Tories can kiss goodbye to the 20 votes from the DUP in the future. As we said in a video, was it this week or was it last week? It's worth a watch. The DUP have been fooled again and again and again by the Tories. The Tories love to throw the DUP under the bus. It's become like their national pastime almost. It's absolutely insane. The biggest thing, and I think the biggest thing in the next general election would be, and like I say, I really do worry. Let's say worst case scenario happens and we end up with a hung parliament, that neither Labour nor the Conservatives have enough votes to be able to form a government by themselves. So they have to go into coalition. So this leaves Labour essentially probably having to coalition either with the SNP, the Lib Dems, possibly even the Green Party. Again, we'll have to see, again, depending on the numbers. But the Conservatives, if they don't have the DUP, if what's being reported at the moment is that the DUP have lost a lot of support, there is a potential that maybe next general election, that if the DUP don't get enough seats, that they themselves, the Conservatives, literally have no one to partner up with to try and form a coalition. So, oh wow, thank you, Chris. Thank you for those €5. Grab yourself. Nearly tripped over there. Grab yourself a coffee. I certainly will do. What do you think the Tories will try and bargain with when they try and negotiate with the EU on financial services? Good question. Very good question. I don't think the Tories have anything to negotiate with. Because, as has always been the question, the EU and the single market has far more leverage. Far more leverage. Maybe they'll betray the fishermen again. And although, who knows, that might actually end up being good for them if they if they allow the fishermen access again. But again, it's really hard to say. And like I say at the moment, April's coming up fast. And the 1st of April, that's when the lease period, the leniency period, and everything comes into full force and effect. So April's going to be an absolutely perfect storm. Absolutely a perfect storm for essentially the customs and exports in this country. It's going to be well and truly unbelievable. Like I say, the Brexiteers have so much to thank the coronavirus for covering up the true cost of Brexit. It's unbelievable. They really do. And as we start to emerge from the lockdown and things slowly start to go back to normal. Sorry, someone just asked what's going to happen in April. Well, at the moment, even though we have left the EU, there is what is a gentle easing in period, shall we say. So not all the rules are being enforced or are in place. So currently, if you say transport something, currently at the moment, you might not have to fill out a form for it because there's a gentle easing in period. But come the 1st of April and later on in, I think it's June or July, I can't remember which one it is now, these, shall we say, the honeymoon periods will be over. And if you've, as we've said and been constantly reporting on, if you think companies and corporations are crying out now, saying how much we need help, wait until then. They're going to be crying out even more. And of all people, you had David Cameron come out and say how much the Conservatives are, screwing over UK businesses, So that's going to cause, I think, an interesting rift in the Conservative Party. We'll have to see how that develops. And of course, next week, we have the budget. Rishi Sunak said that he's going to level with the country about the true costs of the coronavirus. So we've got that to look forward to on Wednesday as well. Because if you thought austerity was bad, I think Rishi Sunak is about to introduce, as we've said before, austerity on the steroids. So get ready, folks, and buckle your seatbelts, because I think Wednesday, is it Wednesday when he announces the new budget? I think it is. When he announces that new budget, it's going to be all hands on deck. All hands on deck. And Rishi Sunak's popularity is literally going to plunge. He's going to go into absolute freefall. He's going to go from being one of the most popular chancellors there is straight down to probably being one of the worst chancellors we've ever had the misfortune to have in that position. And this is all bad news, my friends. But like I say, we'll have to buckle up and wait for that. But yes, we are. We're roughly now halfway around. I'm trying to walk as slow as I possibly can, because, like I say, I can. If I were to say adopt my normal walking speed, we'd be done by now. So I'm trying to slow it down a bit. So that's been this week's Brexit debacle. So, as we are halfway around, please do hit that like and share button. That does help out the channel massively. Also, down below, there is a link to my Patreon and a one-off donation link called Buy Me a Coffee, where you can, well, buy me a coffee. Or you can send a super chat in. That'll be fine as well. And again, I will very happily, definitely go and get myself a coffee after this, definitely. But thank you to all the people who do support the channel, whether you are a Patreon member or whether you are a one-off donator, or whether you just click that like button. Like I say, every little helps, as they say in Tesco. And thank you for all the support everyone out there gives and shows this channel. I'm always constantly amazed by your guys' generosity and support that you show this channel. So thank you very much, and thank you everyone for doing that. So on to today's true topic, because as you may or may not be aware, the stream today is called "It's Not Easy Being Green Party." You see what I did there? So, some of you may not have seen, or some of you may have seen, that I put up a poll up this week asking how many of you were in favour of HS2 and how many were against HS2, how many people had no idea what HS2 was. So just to catch I think it was the 20 or so % of people who voted that had no idea what HS2 is. HS2 is essentially a massive, probably the biggest infrastructure project we have had in the UK probably since we built the motorways many years ago. And HS2 itself is an acronym for, I think it's high speed type 2 rail or something like that. But it's shortened down to HS2 just to keep it simple. So now you know essentially what HS2 is. And overwhelmingly, the vast majority of my audience, I think about 40% of the people who voted in the poll, said that they were against HS2, while I think it was 17, it might have been 14% of my audience said that they were for HS2. So we have definite, HS2 does inspire a lot of very mixed feelings through a lot of people. I can understand that. I can definitely understand that, because I am someone who does think that we need desperately in this country a lot, and I mean a lot, of better infrastructure in this country. So I am, and I know this isn't going to win me any fans, because again, a lot of you said that you're against it. I am for HS2. I do think, again, but I do agree with a lot of the criticisms against it. I think a lot of like the environmental concerns that it's, cutting through Greenland and, through forests and whatnot. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with that. But where else are they going to build it? At the end of the day, we need infrastructure like this. Every other country in Europe has high-speed rail, except us. And I do think we need HS2, although I do think we need to launch some sort of inquiry as to why it's ballooning so far out of control. Because I definitely agree to that. I definitely agree that the government needs to agree to more environmental concerns. So why are we talking about, and why is Green Party in today's title as well? Well, shockingly, as you may or may not know, the Green Party's membership shot up recently by about 8%. And this has been a lot of mostly very disenfranchised, very young Corbyn Labour supporters who were generally appalled at how Corbyn was treated, and eventually basically decided that they're now going to throw their weight behind the Green Party. And one day I said, as I always said, we need to go over the Green Party one day, because it's not like I disagree with all the policies. It's just things like when they say get rid of HS2 but invest in local transport. If you are generally going to consider getting people out of their cars, which is what the Green Party's main aim has been, then not only do you need to invest in not only local transport, but national transport as well. And HS2 does fall under that remit. So it was to my quite surprise when I saw that it turns out a new splinter group, who I think is part of the new influx to essentially the Green Party, has decided that they want to push the Green Party to stop wanting to cancel HS2 and start to advocate for it, which I think is a good idea. And the reason why they said this is because they said that they wanted the Green Party to actually be seen more electable than, as he put it, a bunch of green kooks. And I think he's sort of spot on, because when I saw that so many people were against HS2, I thought, let's do a bit of research on this. So I looked up on YouTube HS2 just to see how many videos were out there. And of course, one of the first videos that came up was from Extinction Rebellion. Of course, many people may or may not be aware, Extinction Rebellion, massive environmental group, campaigning for, to essentially take the climate crisis seriously. And I think, yes, that's a very good goal. My biggest problem with this came when I found a video of theirs called HS2, quote, versus green recovery. And put it this way, it was basically anti HS2, and it showed them essentially a video of them deforesting, pulling down trees, to essentially very sad music. However, that was it. It didn't talk about how, because this is one of the other things that not people realize about HS2. When HS2 comes through your area, your local rail network will also benefit and get upgraded at the same time. And it will usher in huge investment into local rail terms. And that's what we need. We need local investment in local rail, national rail, and HS2 does fall under national rail type projects. And it will help build our economy. And I get it. I do really understand people when they come through concerns for saying, oh, they don't think it's economical, or, the environmental concerns. I get it. But it would be far better, for example, the Green Party, if they were to advocate for, okay, we want HS2 because that will get cars off the road, it will get lorries off the road, and through the Green Party's own admission, their very own admissions, they have said that rail travel is the most green friendly way to travel. So definitely there needs to be, some sort of realization that there needs to be a HS2, but what the Green Party needs to do is, and essentially the people like Extinction Rebellion, they need to push the government and HS2, the company behind it, to, I don't know, like a green pledge. And that Euston Square tunnel site. So that is incredibly dangerous what they were doing. Incredibly dangerous. Like I say, my stepdad is a former miner, and he said it himself. It gives it about 2 weeks before the tunnels start to collapse, and one of the tunnels, surprise, surprise, has started to collapse. Hence why some of them have had to leave the tunnels. So the whole thing, and especially with the Green Party, is a lot of these new people who have joined essentially really want to take the Green Party to the next level and make them see, and especially the public, that the Green Party is an electable force. The only problem, as I've said before, and dude is right, that's what we need. We need to invest in Zeppelin travel, public Zeppelins, that's what we need. Get back some of those, hydrogen-filled Zeppelins. That's what we need. Although now, actually, given our technological advances, we could probably recreate good, actual, safe Zeppelins, also filled with, hydrogen, which is, again, bizarre. But hey, possibilities abound. So how much time does HS2 save on the travel, and how much the tickets will cost? I don't know how much the tickets will cost, but I'll tell you now, travelling to London is already ridiculously expensive. It is stupidly expensive. I'll tell you that now. And it will save about I think, 20 or so minutes. Which, again, in the grand scheme of things, is not a lot. But we need this type of infrastructure in the UK. You know, if you want to encourage people not to use their cars, you need massive investment in local transport networks. You need massive investments in national transport networks as well. So this is a really delicate, and I think, right situation where people go, well, we want to do this, but then go, we don't want to destroy the countryside to do it. But the problem is, if you want these big, national infrastructure projects, they've got to go somewhere. They've got to go somewhere. And that's the difficult thing to do sometimes. And I do think that it'd be interesting to see how much this push does come through. But of course, as I've said before, the Green Party isn't going to win a lot of seats because of how our system is. Like I say, the Green Party are on. Oh, yeah, that's the. Yep, it's a fast train to Leeds. And like I say, Barnsley itself is changing. It used to be this very, very industrious mining town, but Barnsley over the years has changed so much. It is becoming a commuter town. You can live in Barnsley and work in Leeds or Sheffield or Wakefield. And more people are starting to do that, because if you live in Barnsley and you live close enough to walk to, a train station, you can hop on a train and be in centre of Sheffield in about 30 or so minutes. And then if you want to get to Leeds, it's about 40 or so minutes. So overall, and again, they've done, one of the big things at the moment in Barnsley politics is about the crossroads that go over to the M1 and replacing those, because, as they've said before, the traffic on that road is getting to a point where it cannot support the infrastructure that is there, which is the crossroads, for all the future predicted rise in traffic. So, and again, that is unfortunately destroying a green space, but it's either we keep those crossroads, and in about another, helicopter's going over. We keep those crossroads, and in about another about 10 years or so, those crossroads become an absolute nightmare. And then people will start complaining, well, we need to do something about all this, god-awful traffic. And then, people will turn around to them and go, oh, well, but don't you realise about 10 years ago, we suggested doing this and you said no. So, yep. I think it's the police helicopter. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it? Anyway, but yeah. Someone said I'd been swatted. But yeah, I think this is really going to be the talking point of the future, really, of, we need housing and people don't want to build out because it builds out onto green spaces, or, there's a green space in the city or town they live in and people want to build on it and use it for flats or something, It's going to be I think at least the next decade, the defining argument in town councils. Do we build the infrastructure we need to continue to grow, or, do we prioritize these green spaces? And that is really going to be the defining idea, the defining topic of conversation, really, I think, for the next 2 to 3 decades. And this is something where the Green Party can actually chip in, because if they actually come up with solutions that not only solve things like the housing crisis, where not only do we need to solve the problem of renting, that will help solve the housing crisis, but also solve the problem of building new houses. And as I've said before last week, where we were talking about this, the best way to solve this is, rather to build out and out, is to build out and up. And there are lots of good examples in Europe of, socially built apartment and tenement blocks that are almost cities or mini villages within themselves. They've got shops built into them. There's schools built into them as well. And people say, well, yes, you're sounding a lot like talking about Judge Dredd and the mega cities. And yeah, technically, with the mega blocks, that is definitely something that, we need to look into, really, and be aware of, because the Green Party are in and do win. They don't win at national elections, but they win quite a few local elections. In Sheffield, there are quite a few Green councillors on Sheffield City Council. Obviously, you had, what was his name now? The EMP. He was also mayor of Sheffield as well. Majid Madwad? No, that's the LBC guy. I can't remember his name. But yeah, he was a Green Party guy. And I think, yeah, he was all right. I voted for him. That's someone said there. Hang on. Bowler hat man. There is not a housing crisis. There is a transport problem. If you can live in a small, you can live in a smaller city, and it's feasible to work in a big city, then you can live further away. True. I mean, one of the things that I think the coronavirus has done and will change probably for the positive is people working from home. Not only that, but the next, I think, battle that there should be is reducing working hours but maintaining the same level of pay. Because I think it's, you go to, again, you look to the Nordic countries and you've got Sweden, of all places, who, and I'm really am jealous, they work, I think it's like 8 till 2, and that's their day done. That is their day. So I think that's another thing we should be fighting for. Not only more flexible working hours, because we've all been there in work. We've all been there and gone, I really don't have to work today. We've all been there at like 12 o'clock on a Friday and realised I've got no more work to do. But I can't go home yet because I work 9 till 5. We've all been there. Or we've been halfway through a project, and then we know that, for example, someone we're waiting for has come back and said, well, it's not going to be ready until tomorrow, and it's 3 o'clock. But you've got nothing else to do because you're waiting on this guy to finish his part of the project. So if he's not going to be finishing his, then why can't you finish early for today at 3 o'clock, but also still receive the same amount of pay? There is a reason why, especially some of the Nordic countries, are so productive in terms of their stuff. It's, these are the types of things that I think we need to look more into as well. And again, this is something the Green Party, needs to look into and think how it can help support these people. Because that will help, that will help them win votes. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Anyway, we're coming up to the end of today's Good Morning Walk. It's been a very cold, although much of the chill is now gone now. It was there this morning. But yeah, I think really to sum it up, the whole Green Party, and especially that split, the Green Party, in all honesty, they need to find a way and support smart policies essentially to be taken seriously. And I think they do have a huge chance at the moment. But again, under our current system, as I've said very well before, there ain't a chance for them winning any serious number of seats to be considered any sort of political force. And at the end of the day, that is upsetting. Of course, you see in other European countries, there are Green parties, and even they have more MPs in their chambers than they do at the moment. Like I say, at the moment in the UK, we've only got Caroline Lucas for the Green Party, and that's been really it. Really, You know, they've never won any more seats than hers. But even that was, you know, a major achievement for them. But they do, of course, do make a lot of success on local councils. The problem is that success on local councils has never been able to transfer to a national level of scale. So, but like I say, I am now a Labour Party member. But if they ever did want to form some sort of progressive alliance, as has been said, mooted before, if Labour did that, they would have a massive electoral victory at the next general election. I would be in favour of that. Look at me now. I've joined the Labour Party. I'm already, you know, I'm already doing it. But yeah, we're running out of time and there's stuff to talk about Keir Starmer. We'll talk about it next week. I'm sure we will. We'll have to. There's so much to talk about very often. So little time. So much to talk about and so little time. So, as always, thank you all for joining me today. Please remember that there is my links down below for my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me a Coffee, where you can buy me a coffee. And thank you to the people that have supported the stream today through Super Chats, or do support me in general being on Patreon, or supporting me through the one-off donation link. Thank you so much for those. And as always, you know, if you can't be safe, be sensible. Have an absolute fantastic weekend. Do remember to hit the like button on your way out as well. And as always, have an absolutely fantastic weekend. We'll see you all next week for another Good Morning Walk.